Hardly an 18-year-old around the world is being talked about as much as Vinicius Junior. Now, after his first goal for Real Madrid's senior team, can we expect more from the Brazilian youngster? Let's be honest, he should be the next big thing. The prodigy from Rio de Janeiro has been described as Real Madrid's president Florentino Perez as one of the great hopes of world football, and rightly so after such a huge price tag. But no pressure on the kid, right? It's not like Perez made these statements in front of a packed media spectacle at the youngster's presentation after his near €46 million move from Flamengo. This is after just a few minutes of first team action and at the age of 16. So, as we said before, no pressure, kid. After former coach Julian Lopetegui, the Brazilian was pretty much ignored, meaning that many fans question why they spent such a big sum on him. Those die-hard Real Madrid fans caught a glimpse of him playing for Castilla, Real Madrid's reserves, but he never quite made any minutes for the first team. That was until the crumbling mess above him gave new light to the 18-year-old, and under new coach Solari, he's managed to make his debut and bag his first La Liga goal, albeit with a massive deflection. So what exactly does the kid bring to the game? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? And which megastar around the world is he being likened to already? Well, first off, let's get the weaknesses out of the way before we go on to the strengths and all the good stuff, because even though he's a fantastic youngster, there are obviously some weaknesses in this game. Of course, no player is absolutely perfect already at just age 18, not even Messi or Ronaldo. To be honest, I'm sure if you asked a 17-year-old Pelé back in 1958 who had just won the World Cup, scoring 2 goals in the final, whether he was the perfect player, he probably still would have told you no, and that he had stuff to work on. But back to Vinicius Junior, and one of the very first weaknesses in his game that he could improve is the use of his left foot. This is because attackers these days are expected to contribute all across the front line. Players like Ronaldo score goals from every angle with both feet and even with their head, and this is something that Junior will need to work on, but let's give it some time. He is only a youngster overall. Another thing which he can do is improve his aggression, both physically and mentally. Now, I'm going to be comparing him to the likes of Neymar, Messi and Ronaldo throughout this video because let's face it, those are the 3 best players in the world, and even more so for Vinicius Junior because those are the mantles, the positions that he's looking to get into and make his name in. When it comes to physicality, Cristiano Ronaldo has got it all. He's 6'1", is strong, quick and extremely fit. This is something that Vinicius Junior will need to pick up on and learn from, as he's still quite a skinny 18-year-old. As for Lionel Messi, well, he's got the mental physicality. He's the kind of guy who gets battered game after game. Opponents try to foul him, kick him, do anything to stop him playing. But Messi picks himself up time and time again, gets the ball and shows the world why he is arguably one of the best players ever. To add on to this as well, he'll have to do a bit more to play as a team player. Now, coming from Flamengo, where he was the main striker, it's obviously a bit difficult to ask him to go from that role to a more supportive role. As a young, eager person, he obviously wants to get on the ball and do everything he can to impress his new employers and to show why they paid all the money for him. Heck, Neymar's 26 and he still wants the ball all the time to do everything with it, so maybe it's not such a bad thing. But we'll move on from the weaknesses and now to the strengths, where not without reason, he has been listed as one of the most exciting players to be born this century. His dribbling, it's almost perfect. He can turn any defender inside out in a one-on-one situation just as good as anyone else can. And when it comes to around the edge of the box, his shooting is dangerous. It's incredibly quick and incredibly accurate, however, only with his right foot. Alongside this, he takes a pretty sweet set piece and can definitely find the back of the net, something which the Castilla fans saw in 5 games with his 4 goals. Overall, the technique of the Brazilian is a feast for the eyes, but it's this, alongside his tactical knowledge, which at the moment can help compensate for his physical deficits. Alongside this, he's got all the off-field traits which could make him a star. He appears to be level-headed, relaxed and gets on with just about everybody, unlike some of the ego-driven mad players that you find at Real Madrid. Having said that though, success can do crazy things to a player, so I'll reserve judgment on his character for a few years yet at least. As for signs of his level-headedness at the moment, well, he stated in an interview that he didn't want to be a pro just so he could buy the Rolexes or the fancy cars, but so that he could help his mum and his family achieve financial stability. And I think at around €7.5 million a year, he'll just about be able to do that in Brazil. And this is all from a kid who grew up in a slum in Brazil. He then moved further away to live near his uncle's house, which is closer to the Flamengo training centre, and become the star we know today. It appears that this is part of every young Brazilian's footballing story, and if so, Who really cares? They seem to produce some fantastic talents over the years, so maybe it's all part of the learning process. So, in a quick summary of his weaknesses and his strengths, he's kind of like a fancy sports car. He's got all the gadgets, but some fine-tuning is still necessary. Looking forward, I honestly think he could become a player just like Neymar. Now, he's definitely not the finished version, and he's nowhere near the Brazilian number 10 and talisman. But if he gets the chance to learn from Neymar, potentially if he moves to Real Madrid, or even in the Brazilian meetups, then why not? He's got all the agility, the speed, the skill, the game-changing feat to be a player just like Neymar, but as we said before, he still needs a long way to go to get there. Hopefully under new coach Solari at Real Madrid, he'll be able to get the playing time to develop his skills and won't end up like another youngster, someone like Martin Odegaard, who was brought to Madrid with so much promise and now finds himself out on loan in the Dutch division. No offense to them, but it's not exactly what he would have hoped of when he signed for Real Madrid age 16. So there you have it, our quick scout report on Vinicius Junior. Do you think he can go on to be Real Madrid and Brazil's next biggest star, or will he end up being a flop like so many others within the game? Let me know in the comment section down below, of course. Smash the like button while you're there, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.